Hi, today we'll be doing a mail merging video. So basically we need to understand what a mail merging process is. Okay, so what happens is many a times you want to send documents to large number of people. It can be, let's say, an invitation to 250 students, or it can be some sort of a reminder or a memo to around 50 employees. Okay, so in such type of documents the content remains the same. The difference is the information relating to the recipient who's going to receive it. So suppose if I want to send invitation to 250 students, or a memo or a reminder to around 50 employees, I can't keep on creating 250 or 50 documents with different addresses on it, which is a time consuming process. So basically this mail merging process, which is one of the very essential feature of Microsoft Word, it helps you to create batch of documents that are personalized for each recipient. Now, for initiating this process of mail merging, we need two documents or two files, I would say. First is the main document, and the second one is the data source. Now, your main document is basically the letter that you want to send it to the recipient, which is usually prepared in Microsoft Word. Now, the data source is your recipient's detail, or it's the file that holds the recipient's detail. Now, this data source, it can be created in Word, it can be created in Excel, it can also be created in Access. Now, one of the easiest way to prepare a data source is to make it in Excel. But yes, there are certain factors that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so when you're preparing a letter, make sure the format is set, arrange it the way you want it. Wherever you have to include the recipient's detail, that part you can leave it empty, or as I have used a placeholder, you can put placeholder. That makes it easier for us to understand. In the data source, okay, which I prepared in Excel, you need to be very careful because the data source structure needs to be arranged properly. Okay, make sure when you're preparing a data source in Excel, the first row, the very first row, includes the field names, titles. Those headings should always come in the very first row, and the rest of the rows will be holding information regarding the particular fields that we have entered. The table should not have any blank row. Now this is very important. Now once you have created that, you can save it and you can close the data source file. Okay, so for starting with the process of mail merging, we need two things. One is the letter, which is the common content which we will be sending it to the recipients. The second is a data source. That data source actually includes the details or information regarding the recipients. Now that data source, as I mentioned earlier, it can be in Word, Excel or Access, but then Excel is the easiest out of the lot, so that's the reason I'll be showing it using Excel. In the next videos, I'll also be putting up using Word as well as using Access. So we can start with the mail merge process. Click on the letter file that you want to use, okay, and fix the spellings, adjust the fields, arrange it properly. So this is a letter that I have made for the mail merging, and I'll choose the mailing tab on the ribbon, I'll choose start mail merge and I'll be choosing wizard. We actually have two methods of using or creating a merge document. So one is using the wizard and the second one is basically using the shortcut option, that is through the icons itself here. So let's first go through the wizard. So step by step mail merging. And here you have to go through 6 steps to complete the process of mail merging. So as we are working on letters, we'll be choosing letters. Mail merging can also be used for creating envelopes with different addresses on it, creating labels with different addresses on it. Okay, so it's not just for the sake of merging letters, but other features are also available. Now, after I choose letters, I'll be clicking on the next option, that is to go to the next step. Select the starting document. Okay, now here they have given us 3 options. Use current document, start from a template, start from existing document. Now, use a current document is an option that I'm going to choose because my letter file is already open here. So please pick this file. I'm instructing the wizard to actually use this file. Or else if you want, suppose you don't have a letter created, you can actually start from a template. Template is basically a dummy file with a structure of a letter. Like, the to, the from and the content, and that structure will be given. And if you want, you can modify it and change it as per your requirement. So you can start from a template or start from an existing document. That is when I started off with the mail merging. I opened the letter and I started working on it. Suppose if you have not opened the letter file, you can actually choose start from an existing document and browse and pick your letter file. So as per the method that you have gone through, you'll have to choose the option. So as I have already opened my letter file, I'll be choosing use the current document. Then click on next. Select recipients. Now recipient is basically to whom you want to send this invitation or letter to. So that details regarding the recipients is basically stored in our data source file. So use an existing list. So use an existing list you'll choose when you have your data source already created, either Word, Excel or Access. So once, if you have created it, you'll actually be choosing use an existing list. You also have the option of selecting the details from Outlook contacts. Now, many organizations, they actually use Outlook, which is a mailing software. So the entire profile relating to their customers, employees is already recorded in their Outlook contacts. So they can extract the recipient's information from Outlook contacts also. Type a new list is like, you started with the process of mail merging, and while you're doing the mail merging process, you're going to type the details of the recipients. Now that is also acceptable. So use an existing list. Because I have my data source created, click on browse and pick the location and pick the mail merging file. That is your data source file. Now, because I created my data source in Excel, Excel is basically a workbook which has number of worksheets in it. So the workbook is basically referred to as your file. So the Excel file that I picked has got one worksheet in it, that is sheet 1, and in that my records are stored. So I'll be picking that. Some of you would notice that when you create a data source and we pick it, you will see sheet 1, sheet 2 and sheet 3, because some of the previous versions of Microsoft Excel by default gives you 3 sheet. So you can pick sheet 1 and click on OK. So basically this shows us the complete records inside our data source file, and then you can click on OK, click on next. Okay, now at this point basically our letter has got attached to the data source. So now if I want the information of the data source, I'll have to first include the headings. Okay, because that attachment process is done, it will allow me to pick the heading row information and to place it in my letter file. Okay, so I'll place my cursor wherever I want to include. So this placeholders I put so that it becomes easy for me to understand where am I supposed to enter the headings. So I'll choose more items, first name, and I'll close it. I can delete this part. You'll notice here you have description. So description. Okay. Product code. Okay, so product code is done. Then I have title. Either you can double click or you can click on the field and press insert, whichever is preferable to you. Address 1, town and postcode. And once that is done, you can close it. So title, first name space, surname, press enter, address, town, postcode, and I can remove the placeholders that I had set. Now again, date I can change it. So select the date, click on insert, and date and time. I'll just try to pick a format and it will pick the current date, whatever is set on your machine. Now see, the letter is pretty much arranged. The addresses are set. That means the structure is set. Okay. Now preview your letters. Now let's see how it's going to look. So here, recipient 1, see Catherine, 2, Peter, 3, Scarlett, 4, 5, 6. So this gives you a preview of how your letter file is going to look like. So if you want to make any changes, you can actually change it. Okay. So here, if I go back to the previous step, here it helped me to add the fields, that is the row headings of your data source. Okay, I can also put my name here. Okay, so the letter is set. Next, it gives me a preview of how my letter file is going to look like. And then next, edit individual letters. Now, this is the point wherein it switches to a new file with same content and different addresses. So see, I'm going to merge it with all the records from the data source. So click on OK. See, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And it gives me different addresses with common content. Now, not only this, if you go back, see, I have got two files. This file that I've got, the new file which got created is known as the merged document. Okay. So if you want, here if you notice, if I'm coming back to the mail merging process. I'm not in the merged document now. I'm in the mail merging process. Edit individual letters. If I give from, and if I, let's say if I've got 250, 300 or 400 addresses, but I don't want all of them. I just want the first 10. So I can give from 1 to 10. So it is only going to give me a merged document and the resultant file will only have 10 records. See, page 1 to 10. I had 16. Originally, I had 16 records, but because I said I need only 10, the first 10 or whatever is the order that you put, it will only be generating that many number of letters with the addresses on it. Okay, this is one method. This is through the mail merging wizard. Now let's do the same thing using the shortcut options, that is using the ribbon options. Okay, so here I'll go to the folder. I'll open my letter file. So this is my letter file. I'll just fix it. Okay, so once that is done, click on mailing. Start mail merge. Rather than choosing a step mail merge document, you will click on letters from here. So whichever was the default file that I had opened, it picked it as the letter. Select recipients, type a new list, Outlook contacts, use an existing list. We'll prefer use an existing list because our file is already created. So NIOS 10th, you have Word, mail merging, and the data source. I need to pick my data source file. So I went to that location, I picked a file. It has got sheets. So sheet 1 holds the data source that I've put. Click on OK. So now the attachment is done. See, it did not show me the preview. So if you want, you can actually click on edit recipients. So it will give you the complete preview regarding the number of records that it holds in the data source. Now, once that is done, you need to add the headings. For that reason, place your cursor here, insert merge field, and this is first name. I can delete the placeholder. Description. Here you have description. Here you have product code. So that is product code. Then you have title, first name, surname, address 1, town, and postcode. Okay, date, select, insert, date and time, choose the date format and click on OK. So that's done. Replace it with your name. Now here 2 more fields to be changed. Description and product code is done. Postcode, town, address, title, first name, surname, first name. Okay, done. Okay, once this is done, come back to the mailing tab. You can take a preview. So click on preview. So it gives you a preview of how your letter content is going to look like. So once that is done, click on the forward and the backward button, which actually helps you to see the preview of all the records that it holds in the data source file. Once this is done, click on finish, edit individual documents, choose all, click on OK. So it's going to generate the merge document, and this will give me the same content with different addresses on it. So this is basically 2 methods that you can try for completing your mail merging for letters. And do understand that the overall process of mail merging includes 3 files. The first is your main document, which is your letter, which is prepared in Word, which is a common content. When the second file is basically the data source, which we prepared in Excel or spreadsheet. We can also do that using Word and Access, or we can type a new list as well. The third one is a merge document. That is the resultant document of merging of your letters with the data source. So this is the overall process of creating merged documents using the mail merging process.